Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and today I'm recapping Game 52 of the regular season. Astros over the Diamondbacks 3-2. We out hit them 6-4. And I'm not going to be my normal upbeat, happy self tonight because I am very, very sad. The Justin Verlander news came out today. I was going to make a video earlier in the day to talk about that and then come back and make this one tonight. But to be honest, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was just too bummed out and too sad to talk about Justin Verlander being out, and it just broke my heart, and I couldn't really talk about it, but I'm going to now. I'll do that after the recap. Starting with the recap, Christian Javier got the start tonight. He went 4 innings. He gave up 2 runs, struck out 6, and allowed a walk. He looked pretty good tonight. I would have been fine leaving him in there for a 5th. I understand his pitch count was getting up there, but I have no problems leaving him in there for a 5th, especially when you're trying to really feel around and see who is going to be your starters going into the playoffs. Especially with Verlander out now, which, God, I'll get to that. I need to focus on the actual recap at hand. He got pulled in the 5th. We brought in Canoli's, Mr. Paredes himself, the Canoli man. And I will say this. Whenever I watch Canoli come in, or Canoli Paredes come in, or I hear them talk about him in the bullpen, I crave a Canoli. And whenever I see a Canoli out and about, I think of baseball. And I think it's really funny how our brains can adequate a food item or an object or something, anything really, to baseball. When I would ever see like anything shark, I live in Florida, so I see shark things all the time. And whenever I'd see that, I would think of Tyler White back, when he was good, like an 18. Sorry, Tyler White. But it's funny to me how we can just immediately see something we think of baseball, or think of any sport for that matter, just depending on what the person's nickname is. He looked really good tonight, 2 innings, no hits, no walks, no strikeouts, but he had 2 perfect innings. He ended up getting the win. He is now 3-2 on the year. I am very excited about Paredes going forward. I am so happy. I'm kind of in a way happy the season went the way it did, just because we got a chance to get a person like Paredes in this bullpen working in the big leagues, who he might not have made his debut for a while. Like, it could have been a year or 2 down the line before they finally called him up, or, we might have done something crazy, like we might have traded him away if we didn't really know what we had there. And this season has really showed us that we have a great relief pitcher in Canoli Paredes, ready to come out and do work. We have him, who looks great. We have been able to see the greatness of Andre Scrub, of Blake Taylor. We've been able to see a lot of rookie bullpen pitchers come out and show out this year, and that's something that we wouldn't have in normal years. And spoiler alert, we're probably not winning the World Series this year, but I am perfectly fine using this year to kind of feel around and see what we have going forward, especially in that bullpen, which has been a weaker link over the past couple of years. I understand Joe Smith has been great. Will Harris has been great, or was great for us, Pressley, Cena, I understand they've been good. But overall, if you had to pick a weakness, it would probably be the bullpen. And I'm fine with this season just being feeling around, seeing what we have, seeing what we don't. Especially with the starting pitching, since it's kind of disappeared in the past couple of years. We've lost Keuchel. Sorry, I have to think. Keuchel, Charlie, Morton, Cole, probably Verlander now. Which means, essentially, that 2017 rotation is completely gone. The 2018 rotation is pretty much completely gone outside of Lance, which sucks. But, being able to see others come up, like Christian Javier, like Robert Valdez, like tomorrow we have Jose Urquidy starting, they give me hope for the future. That was just a long-winded way of saying Paredes looked good tonight. I'm sorry that I go on these long, meaningless tangents. My brain goes too fast for the rest of my body to comprehend, and by the time my brain is done going down a rabbit hole, the logical part of my brain says, hey, what were you doing? And I have to apologize. Then we brought in Josh James, and I gotta ask, Dusty, what haven't you learned this year? Josh James isn't a good relief pitcher. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Weston, he didn't give up any runs. He was fine tonight. He got bailed out on a double play by by good old Raley tossing in that ball. Where have we seen that before to turn a double play? And I know what you're going to say. Weston, that's nothing like it. It was to first, and it was, in the playoffs. I don't care. Let me have my cheap joke. He got bailed out there. He gave up a walk. He didn't give up any hits, I don't believe. But I think he did give up a hit, excuse me. James didn't look great. He didn't give up any runs, but that was more of a Brantley Altuve thing because Brantley was able to get that play, and Altuve was smart enough to realize, oh, I need to get over to the bag because this could potentially be a double play. Then Brooks Raley came in. I've said this a few times, and I've said it a couple times in the past, like in the past couple days. Brooks Raley's stuff plays at the big league level. No hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He looked good in his inning of work. I like Brooks Raley a good deal. I don't believe we gave up any picks. I think we just signed him off of waivers, which good pickup by James Click. I know people are going to want to crap on him this year for not making any moves to the deadline and, our entire pitching staff falling apart, but that was a really slick little pickup that he made. So I'll give him credit where it's due. That was a good decision. Ryan Pressley came in the 9th. He got a save. Ryan Pressley has been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know what to say. He looked good tonight. 10 of the 11 pitches were strikes. He looked great. He was pumping the zone. I've said it before, specifically talking about Ryan Pressley. When he blitzes the zone, which is what I'm calling when he just dials up and just strike after strike after strike, he looks good. That's when he does his best work. 2 strikeouts, no walks, no hits, got out of the inning. He got the save, the 11th of the year for Ryan Pressley. When he has the zone, when he knows where it is, and when he can pound it, he's great. It's just when he doesn't know where the zone is that he isn't. And you could say that's because of the umps having inconsistent zones, and maybe, but maybe that's it. I don't really know, but he looked great tonight, and that's what matters. He got the save. The offense was a little bit anemic. We got a run in the 3rd inning. Sorry about that. That is incredibly unprofessional. I usually write that down, but I didn't tonight. Altuve hit into a ground out. It was almost a double play, but he beat it out. He got the first RBI. Then later on, he got the next RBI with an RBI double. Altuve, I hope, is seeing the ball a bit better. We could use him powering up going into the playoffs if we are to make it anywhere in the playoffs, which I'm probably being cynical when I say I don't know that we will. But if Altuve can start to dial it up, if Springer can start to dial it up, Brantley keeps rolling, Bregman continues to roll. Has he been rolling? I'm going to say he has. And then continued greatness by Tucker and Correa. We could do damage potentially. And that's what I am concerned about if we do it. This year has been a big if for the Astros. After that, RBI in the same inning. Tucker got an RBI single. That put us up 3-2. That would be the final score. Again, the fact that we only put up 3 runs against a man coming into this game whose ERA was above 6.5 and was 1-7 going into the game, that bothers me a little bit that we only scored 3 runs. And I know you're saying, Weston, we still won. How can you be mad when we win? Well, I'm a nitpicker, so that's all it is. Now, the recap is over, so if you only cared about the recap, that is that. Now the Justin Verlander thing. And, yeah, I'm not going to use a timestamp. Justin Verlander is done for this year and next year, requiring Tommy John surgery. And I don't have words for this. I love Justin Verlander. He is my favorite pitcher. I love his story of being great and then getting injured and dealing with that and having to battle his way back to being good again, and then coming into the Astros, picking us up in the rest of that season. He went 5-0 in his starts in 17. Then just looking incredible in the ALCS. He won the MVP. He's had so many gems for this franchise, and he's been so important to this franchise. And just watching him now be done for the rest of the year. We've had to deal with the Astros fans who are very up on the news and who constantly refresh Twitter or Instagram, depending on what your preferred platform is. Mine's Instagram, but that's beside the point. I've had to deal with, and some of us have, we've had to deal with Verlander tearing his UCL and requiring Tommy John surgery twice this year. Because if you remember in my 3rd video I made, or my 3rd recap, I said that he tore his UCL and required Tommy John surgery. That was incorrect. But there was a 30-40 minute period where I, and a lot of Astros fans, thought it was correct. And then we had the sliver of hope that maybe he would come back this year. And then it seemed like he was. He pitched in a simulated game. He had battled back. It looked like he was going to get a start in the regular season and then move on to the postseason with a couple of starts, but be fine by next year. And then today, seemingly out of nowhere, there was no information when he threw the simulated game Wednesday. nothing came out. There wasn't a report saying, oh, he felt weird today. He said something was off in the simulated game. He just today said, hey, I felt something in my arm. I talked to the doctors, and I need Tommy John surgery. And I've basically just been moping around since that news broke, which I know you're saying, Weston, that's not healthy, and this is a sport. You need to grow up. And it's a fair argument, but I love Justin Verlander so much. And he's my favorite pitcher on the staff right now. He's my favorite pitcher, period. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to know that it is possible. I don't know if I would say it's likely or not, because I can see it going. I can see it going either way. I could see him saying, I have unfinished business here in Houston. I want to come back. I want to pitch more. I want to see if we can, right this wrong and get a ring without the tarnished legacy of it. Or I could just see him saying, you know what, I want to move on. I want to get my career and my legacy away from this. But, God, I hope we can bring him back. I understand that he'll be 38, 39 at the time that he gets healthy again. I know he'll be coming off of a Tommy John surgery, and that old of a player, not that 38 or 39 is old, by the way. That's not old in life, but that's old in baseball and sports terms. But someone at that point in their career, coming off of Tommy John surgery, they're probably not going to be the same. But I don't want game 1 this year, 6 innings, 3 runs. I don't want that to be it. That can't be it. I'm sorry, I can't articulate my thoughts. I'm heartbroken. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I got the Verlander pop up there. I got the Verlander jersey on. I figured I'd wear that because I've been moping around since the news broke. And I'm just kind of droning on now. But, it's completely deflating. And I honestly thought when the news broke, I was like, we're probably going to lose tonight. And we're probably going to, suck this last week. We'll probably lose the playoff spot because we're going to be just completely deflated as a team. And we won tonight, and that's good. And it's funny, I was actually discussing earlier with a friend of mine, the pros and cons of making the playoffs this year. And I said, maybe it would be better to miss the playoffs because that way we'd be hungry next year, but also mainly Verlander might not feel it necessary. We wouldn't have to try and get a few starts out of Verlander in the playoffs. And so maybe it would be better if we waited till next year, if we just not tanked to miss the playoffs, but if we missed it, maybe that would be better because we wouldn't have to have Verlander pitch a couple games coming off of an injury. And now that's not an issue because he will not be back. I hope and pray that he recovers fast, obviously. Loving Verlander, I do. He's awesome. He's my favorite pitcher. I don't want this to be a long injury for him. I hope he recovers fine. And I hope he also enjoys the time with his wife and daughter while he does recover from this. But man, I really hope this isn't the end of Verlander as an Astro. And I hope I'm going to be honest, the mediocre game against the Mariners to start the year, I hope that isn't it. I hope we see him in our jersey again because that is not how I want it to end. So yeah, this has been very depressing. I know I don't have a massive following. It's relatively small, but I want to know what is your, and please comment it because I'd love to read it. I'd love to hear how he's affected you guys because I know he's affected mine in a way or two. What's your favorite memory? What's the memory that when you hear Justin Verlander, you think of? What's the game? What's the point? Was it his winning a Cy Young? Hearing that? Was it hearing that he'd been traded? Watching his game against the Yankees in 2017? Was it the no-hitter? Was it the game this year against the Rays where they got Verlander, or last year when they got Verlander? What is your favorite Verlander moment as an Astro? And I'd love to hear that because I have mine. It's the no-hitter. But I want to hear what other people have. So yeah, this was an incredibly depressing video to make. Thank you for listening to my running on 14 minutes. Dear Lord, sorry about that. Yeah, Jose Urquidy gets the start tomorrow. The game starts at 1:10 Central Time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Stros.